Hello everyone, how's it going? So Microsoft, when it comes to the Xbox console, despite the major success that the Xbox 360 was, they decided to throw it all away with the Xbox One showcase. Like, everyone can point to this showcase of being the downfall that started Xbox's massive decline in popularity. It was a console that was more expensive than the PS4, had less performance, had a camera that was required to stare at you 24/7, couldn't play used games. It was just overall a terrible idea, and they showed more about television than actually playing video games, and everyone just bought a PS4 instead because it was the vastly superior product, especially with the basically hit video they had on Xbox One where they said this is how you share games on PlayStation. You just hand it to someone and that's it, even though now Sony's kind of backpedaling with that and now making it harder to play physical media like a lot of other companies. Regardless, Microsoft has never recovered from this, especially Don Matrick, who said the infamous statement, if you don't have a steady internet connection, just stick with Xbox 360. So since then, Microsoft has been trying to get fans back. Phil Spencer came in and he did do some positive things. He lowered the Xbox One's cost. He made the Kinect 2.0, which eventually was phased out, just an optional device. And then there was Game Pass. At first, it was a very hopeful system. They basically did something that Google was trying to do and failed at with Stadia. And Game Pass was seen as a new structure, the Netflix of gaming, and it was positive until recently where they raised the price so much that people couldn't afford it anymore. They did lower it down to $23 or $22, but it was at $30 and people were like, no, absolutely not. It crashed the entire Xbox website and it was a disaster. And recently with Asha Sharma taking over, things have been going well in terms of trying to give fans what they want. She lowered the price of Game Pass. She had a successful Xbox showcase. A lot of people thought this was a really good showcase. It showed Halo, it showed Gears of War. They're putting more emphasis on being an Xbox gamer. They made some changes to the achievement system that has been polarizing, but a lot of people like the new animations. And they also have an upcoming new 21st Xbox celebrating the 25 years celebration, which it looks cool. It's a take on the Halo Xbox Combat Evolved Edition. For those who are old like me, it was also modeled the same way with translucent green, but right now there's no reason to own an Xbox because you can get all their games on PC, not to mention the price is just not worth it. Like, consoles used to be a budget-friendly option. That's no longer the case, but it seems like, yeah, it took me a while to get here, but I just wanted to get everyone set when we get to the actual story, and that is, this has all been a ruse. Like, so the bloodbath when it comes to Xbox is starting to happen, and it seems we're about to lose 3 more studios. Now, for people who are unaware, Microsoft just went on a buying spree while under Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer. Well, Phil Spencer was the boss, Sarah Bond was going to be his successor until Asha Sharma took over, and we don't know the full story behind it, but it's heavily inferred that Satya Nadella, who was the head of Microsoft, made this decision, even though, again, this is just speculation based on what we know. But yeah, it seems that the bloodbath is about to happen. They're planning a giant restart when it comes to the Xbox brand, and despite paying for all these studios like Activision Blizzard, Tango Gameworks, which they closed down and was rescued by Krafton, but they don't own the Evil Within IP. They own Hi-Fi Rush, I believe, but they don't own the Evil Within, which really sucks. I don't know what Microsoft is doing with that. It's one of the greatest survival horror games out there. You can hold me to that. It's just really upsetting. But yeah, the bloodbath is going to include Compulsion Games, who did South of Midnight and We Happy Few, Double Fine, which is they sent out this tweet, which is not looking too good. They just have a sweat emoji. They're known, of course, for Psychonauts, but they are also known for a bunch of indie games that to me are underappreciated, such as Stackin', Iron Brigade, and the recently released Keeper. Even though that game should have been $20, not $30, but they bought all these studios to boost Xbox Game Pass, and right now it's not been going well. Even though they lowered the price, they removed Call of Duty, which is the whole reason they bought Activision Blizzard, but they lost out on Sony sales when it comes to that game, that they had to take it off in order to recoup the cost of how much they've just used to buy all these studios. And right now it's just disgusting. You bought all these studios, you couldn't manage them, and you were hoping they would just manage themselves, but we've seen that's not the case right now. But one of the more devastating, at least from my personal opinion, like, yes, Double Fine, what's happened to them is unacceptable, but Ninja Theory is actually the craziest situation because they just revealed Hellblade 3. And look, Hellblade 2 was not a good game. I 100%ed it. I loved the first game. I felt like it was a one-and-done thing. They did not need to continue it, but Hellblade 2 just felt like such a forced sequel that did not need to exist after I played it. And apparently they're making a third game, but at the same time, they're planning to close down the studio. Now, this opens a lot of questions of, like, what the hell is going on here? Well, it just gets even darker because apparently the whole reason behind the reveal is to try and get investors interested in purchasing Ninja Theory. So there is a rumor going around that they're hoping that these companies will either buy themselves away from Microsoft, which is very confusing. Why don't you just, like, let them operate independently at this point? Because I don't believe the amount of money they can give back to Microsoft to buy their independence will be enough to just for you to keep all this stuff. Like, I don't know what the hell Microsoft is doing right now, but they bought all these studios. They're basically gonna put the livelihoods of hundreds of people on the line and just crash and burn everything. Like, this is just ridiculous. You bought these studios, and instead of trying to keep them on the line and cultivate them like you promised, they did promise this, Matt Booty did, they're just deciding, you know what, screw it, we're just gonna turn the fire on, and anyone who doesn't have enough fire extinguishers, well, you're gonna burn to the ground. And this, I can't imagine how depressing this could be. Like, if this turns out to be true, oh my god. And honestly, I'm hoping that maybe Capcom might buy Ninja Theory, because Ninja Theory has some banger games. They had the underappreciated Heavenly Sword. They had Enslaved Odyssey to the West, another underappreciated gem. Even though I know it's very polarizing, I really love Devil May Cry. Like, I know a lot of people hate it because it's so far from the source material, but if you take it as its own game and just play it as like an alternate telling, yes, the new Dante is annoying, but I really think it's a really good game if you just take it for what it is. Not to mention that the story in that game mirrors our world in so many ways. Like, it's actually pretty disturbing how well they were ahead of what was going on during that period and now. But yeah, DMC, Devil May Cry, Hellblade, of course. So maybe Capcom, but not holding my breath. But yeah, it just seems that Microsoft is just making one bad decision after another. And again, this wraps into everything I started this video with. It all can come back to 2013 when they first revealed the Xbox One. I feel like they just got their hubris took over. They saw the massive success of the Xbox 360. They kept making great decisions with great IPs like Halo, Gears of War, and they decided to keep shooting themselves in the foot. They kept putting profits, and they took their consumers for granted. Like, this is the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize how valuable a good reputation is. Like, a great example of that would be From Software. They just released an online-only version of Elden Ring with Night Rain, and a lot of people played it because they trusted From Software. They trust when they release the Switch 2 exclusive upcoming game that, hey, they're going to do a good job because it's From Software. They have never wronged us at this point. Like, a lot of their work is high quality. And when it comes to Microsoft, their reputation is so much in the toilet, and instead of actually trying to repair it and focus on this on the long-term effort, they're deciding to go for short-term wins. Like, Game Pass was a short-term win, and instead of cultivating and saying, you know what, let's keep it a cheap price, we'll put a bunch of indie games on it from people who need recognition or awareness, then we'll just supplement that, put older Xbox games on it, such as they technically own Banjo-Kazooie because of Rare, so put Banjo-Kazooie, the older Halo games, you know, stuff that people would want to play, and allow them discounts when it comes to newer Xbox games. They would say, hey, you bought the most expensive one, like maybe it's $18. If I was in charge, I would make it $18. You get a 10% discount on all future Xbox first-party titles. But in this case, Microsoft, I don't know, like, I feel like they're just trying to take the short-term wins because they know this is going to be a PR nightmare when it finally goes through, because everyone's reporting on this, that they said that the inside sources say this is true, but I really think that the Double Fine tweet really highlights that. It's just not going to be good. But hopefully another company can either buy them out, or maybe they can go independent again. Double Fine in particular, maybe they have the resources stored away, because they're one of the more consumer-friendly companies out there. They're one of the companies that actually seems like they care about their employees. Not saying the other two don't, but I don't know if they have the capital in order to buy themselves out. Let's face it, they've been in the red, especially when it comes to Compulsion games. South of Midnight may have won a bunch of awards, but it did not translate to sales. As far as I can tell, a lot of people who are defending this game of Rise's controversy didn't even play the game. Like, it was a disaster. I played the game. I thought it was, average. It was okay. I didn't think much of it, but I forgot it ever existed. But Ninja Theory in particular, I don't know if they have the capital to dig themselves out. Maybe Sony, I know that's traded one devil for another, traded it for Sony, but they've done some banger games for Sony, like Heavenly Sword. I know it's an underappreciated gem, but that game was so ahead of its time. It was extraordinary. But tell me what you think in the comments below about all of this. I honestly think this is just unfair to them. Like, they got purchased by by Microsoft, hoping they would be able to operate independently. That was the promise, and they would have some sort of safety. But right now, in the last 3 years, there has been no such thing as safety. All these companies bought these people. They were hoping they would be secure, and then they decided, you know what? Things are getting slightly tougher. We're just going to rip everyone away. And it's also, again, I know a lot of people might make the argument it's because of the profit margin. They've only made 3%, which is just a disaster in terms of profits for Xbox. But again, I would argue this is their fault. They never course corrected when it came to this, and anytime they got a W, they decided to fuck it up over and over and over again. So I don't blame them. I just don't. I don't blame these companies for trying to sustain themselves in an industry that doesn't really give sustainability. But at the same time, I don't feel sorry for Microsoft at all, because they're the ones who did all of this to themselves. They didn't try and repair their reputation for the long term. They didn't attempt to make the right, easy decisions of focusing on the brand and making sure that they can give customers what they want, an affordable and very sustainable product. And look, I get that AI has been a very crippling factor for not only gaming but a lot of industries, but you had so many opportunities to try your best to make a good reputation out of the disaster of the Xbox One showcase, and you decide not to. So at this point, I really feel bad for these studios. These are some incredible studios and talented people. So maybe out there something good might happen. I'm hoping. I don't want this to end. I want to see a sequel to Enslaved Odyssey of the West, even though I know that's probably never going to happen. Maybe a sequel to DMC Devil May Cry, also probably never going to happen. It's as much hope I've had for that Mega Man Legends 3 might be released. The same hope that people have with Half-Life 3. But I keep hoping, because that's all you can do. But that's it for me. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I'm going to stop rambling. Bye.